Cheater. I just had to say that. Jedi's challenging me to 5-3. Typical cheater was lucky. I missed that return sacrifice, but he played some good moves after that. So don't let your guard down, Jedi. Don't let your guard down when you have a good position. Easy draw for the 1700. Corey5010 says, planning on playing at least once in my tournament, the 20th. What does that mean? You're playing at least once in your tournament. Okay. I think that we can agree that G6 is the most solid move in this line. Jedi, I didn't know you played the Slav. I thought you played... I would assume that you would play like the Nimzo or something like that. It's helping Jedi a little bit with how to play against Knight F3, and he never talked about playing the Slav, so I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised to see him play the Slav. This, I guess, he's experimenting with new openings. Bishop F4. This is even made by this line is played by even Kasparov. I mean, if you guys want to have an argument about something, I still think that Kasparov was probably the greatest player. I'm not a believer in like rating points deciding who the best player of all time was. So I still don't think that Carlsen is a greater player than Kasparov because he's like achieved a higher rating. Bishop G7, and now it's time to get developed. Time to close the bishop, get the pawn chain closed up. Oh, one thing I want to tell you guys. One thing I want to tell you guys, in general, in this kind of Slav positions, if you see also like players like Gadakamsky, very positional players who have been trained to play queen pawn openings since they were little kids. Kamsky was like weaned on playing the London system and the Tory attack with white. Basically, he's now going back to playing the London system in his late 30s. One interesting thing about bishops, if you play this kind of closed structure or London system with the bishop out on f4, it's not, it's not that big a deal to trade that kind of bishop for a knight. It's interesting. So, like in this kind of position, I'm not going to go out of my way to play h3. It oftentimes, if black wants to play something like knight h5, he's putting his piece on the side of the board. It's a tricky question, tempos to play moves like h3. Kalida says Carlsen has at least 20 good years left to prove himself. That's true. It's a different world. I hate this comparing players, like Fischer, and comparing Fischer to Carlsen. I mean, it's like ridiculous. So who knows, You can't compare people from 50 years apart or whatever. A6, yeah, okay. Jedi A6. Most people play bishop F5 or knight A6 sometimes, or even C5 occasionally. You get guys who play. Stephen Weiner, a FIDE master from New England, from Vermont, did that against me. I think he played C5. He actually is a Grunfeld player. He just couldn't resist getting a Grunfeld. And I think C5 is playable. It's like your queen on C2 is your extra tempo. And I'm not sure if Weiner threw in bishop F5 or not, but queen C2 isn't the most useful move for white in a bishop F4 Grunfeld. So it's a somewhat useful move. Black might be able to play C5 there. By the way, guys, I did analyze a similar position in one of my YouTube videos. The game Van Wely versus Carlsen from Tata, if you want to check that out. A very cool game where Van Wely should have won with white and did get an advantage, a small advantage out of the opening in a bishop f4 Grunfeld. But I'm going to have to move because this is Blitz. So anyway, I don't think a6 is a big deal. But white's playing for a very, very small edge in this kind of position anyway. So c5, and Jedi was talking about a6 Slav. Then he goes and plays this. Of course, you could play a6 Slav, you know, without g6. I'm going to start the Bobby Fischer, Carlsen, Kasparov debate in the chat room. This is not what I wanted to do. But I had this chess argument not that long ago where I was disappointed when Kasparov chose to play a match against Nigel Short last year or whenever it was. I mean, you know, Kasparov comes out of quote-unquote retirement to play this random match against Nigel Short. I mean, why couldn't it be against like a top player? You know, I have somewhat respect for Short's game, but man, what a like letdown to play Nigel Short. I mean, why pick him? So, and someone made the comparison of that to like Fischer playing Spassky a second match. I thought that's like insane, you know? How can you compare like Kasparov playing Short to Fischer playing Spassky? That's just unbelievable, you know? I mean, it's inconceivable in my mind, you know, to compare the two. Spassky was a world champion. Spassky was one of the best players in history, you know. Nigel Short is a strong grandmaster, but I don't think he should go down as one of the strongest players in history. He was fortunate to somehow get a match against Kasparov for the world championship, but let's say he was pretty lucky. For certain things had to happen for that to happen, and he was never the second best player in the world. b6 is a good move, Jedi. But there's interesting stuff here. I think I analyzed something like b4, a5, b5 here. And I think I've seen Kramnik, now I'm talking about Kasparov, Kramnik playing pretty similar line with white. Didn't Fischer dominate chess prostitute? Did Fischer dominate Spassky? Well, he did win the matches. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Someone said that Carlsen compares himself with Tal, saying he would beat Tal pretty easy. It's a pretty strange thing to say, considering it's something that could never happen. You know, to say something that would happen in a hypothetical situation that could never happen is pretty bizarre. I think Carlsen is pretty normal, but the longer that he remains world champion, the crazier he's going to get. You know, is kind of like, this the standard, kind of the standard for chess world champion, I would think. Now I'm going to have to worry because I played bishop e2, and it was like a trick. I was being tricked here. Okay. Okay. Alright, we're going to deal with this. We're going to deal with this, Jedi. Not afraid of you and your tricks. We know about you. Jedi has been giving me trouble here on the stream. He's won too many games against me lately. So we're not going to let him just walk all over us. anymore. (5-3) Blitz. Why has Sparkle ignored me ever since I mentioned the Grob? No. Believe me, it has nothing to do with the Grob. I just, I have to pay attention, and it's impossible to get to everybody's comments. Although, admittedly, the Grob isn't like the most pressing of my interests. The Grob is, the Grob isn't, you know, it's not really a critical opening. Henry Grob, was that it? Was that his name? Okay. Looks like we have a small edge, kind of like what you would expect in this kind of opening. I really need to watch out for C5 here. Jedi. Jedi, leave me alone, man. I didn't have to trade on E5, but I wanted to keep it simple since we're both like almost losing on time in this position. I've got to watch the back rank mate. And I think I missed, well, I wasn't sure if knight b6, rook takes a2 there. Not sure I missed anything. Anyway, we got this minimal advantage. It's probably a draw, but I'm not sure, you know. Kramnik would try to grind it down. He finds a move here, which is really irritating. For a draw. Alright, I'm a little bit better, but it's probably not enough to win. The outside pawn. Okay. Andy Quibbler. Andy Quibbler, this isn't exactly a position where I think that it's clear. White has an outside passed pawn, in case you didn't notice, and I think that makes him a little bit better, but I don't normally try to flag people. But I don't think that you should be on the stream telling me to offer people draws, dude. You wouldn't know the first thing about it. And really, I wouldn't go there if I were you. Seriously. You have absolutely no respect to decline people's draws and just play on flag. Like, when it's 5 seconds left, it's just a disgrace. So anyway, let's play at least one more game. So yesterday, Andy Quibbler, I played a game against him where I tried to repeat moves and he just mercilessly tried to flag me in a drawn position. So I repeated moves on 2 occasions, offered a draw. Nothing. He just wanted to win my rating points. So I won't continue to play the guy. Basically. Now he comes on my stream and tells me when I should offer people's draws. So I think he needs to stick to his stream. E3. Bishop E2. Guys, this is the last game for today. I have absolutely total respect for most of my opponents.